I'm Clara. I'm from Brazil. I got into this climate repair conversation because I was already working with climate and environmental movements back in Brazil. And I ended up going to a symposium that was specifically about climate geoengineering. And I had never heard of the term, even though I thought I knew what was happening in the climate movement. But 5 years ago, I think the conversation was still very much limited to the scientific community. And that's why I thought I should be more engaged with it, because I'm not part of the scientific community, and I thought that more people needed to know what were those technologies.
What do you think is the biggest challenge in this current climate repair debate?
For me, it's breaking down walls to get more people into the conversation, especially those from the climate justice movement, because I come from the climate justice movement. I still consider myself as an environmentalist, but we still have this division that if you're an environmentalist, you can't really be talking about climate repair. Talking about it doesn't mean that you're lobbying for it or defending that we will deploy those technologies. Talking about it is also raising awareness and understanding more the science and all of the governance implications that surround it.
Have you faced any challenges in your work trying to bring those people around the table to discuss climate repair?
Yeah, I've sometimes seen as someone that works for the oil industry. I've been called a fossil fuel lobbyist, and that's something I definitely am not. And when I'm not in those decision-making spaces in rooms, I'm in the streets protesting. When you understand that we're all fighting for the same cause and we all care about the same things, I think it's much easier for those who initially are opposed to what we're talking about to relate to us. And internet is not the most safe space to talk about climate repair, I feel like. Yeah. But then when you get to meet people in person,
exactly, yeah.
And they understand that, oh, this person is also an environmentalist like me, or oh my God, I'm here in this protest right next to someone who works with those things that I'm against. It changes. I can think of not only individuals, but also organizations that when I first reached out to them, it was no, sorry, we don't want to talk about this. But then after time, when you really get the chance to talk, especially about your fears and concerns, and they see that you're also concerned about the same things, then that changes everything.
Yeah. Now, given the risks of these current climate policies and overconsumption, etc., do you think that it's necessary now to launch climate repair research?
I think research is already happening, and we still don't have the answers. So I think research should continue so that we can try to answer those questions. But specifically, more research in the social sciences as well, because we often hear that, oh, we need to govern those technologies, but we don't know how to do that yet. And by having more social sciences research, maybe that's a path that we can try to imagine how this governance scenarios would look like.
What do you think the world would look like if climate repair is now researched and commissioned in an ethical way? What do you think the world would look like?
I think in a positive scenario, having more research would mean that we have alternatives in case the ones we have right now don't work. Knowing how intergovernmental processes work, I have some trouble seeing that happening in the most positive way, but that doesn't mean that we can try achieving that scenario. I hope that having more research also doesn't mean that we will stop doing all of the other things that need to be done. And I hope that people don't think that doing research already eliminates research in other areas that we're still looking for answers as well. I hope that we can make different researches happen at the same time. I tend to be optimist. I wake up every day and I try to be the most hopeful. that I can. And I truly hope that we can find more ways to collaborate, not only in the climate repair movement, but across all the different social and environmental movements that we have, and also bridge the gaps between those different movements, because the climate conversation is not only for people who care about the climate, it should be for everyone, right? I truly wish that we could find ways to make this conversation available and accessible for everyone. And maybe climate repair is a way to bring more hope into people's lives as well. And I'm not saying that climate repair will be used so that we can have hope, but the fact that we can talk about something that is not all the doom and gloom that often happen in the climate movement, I think that's something to look forward to if we can find ways to make it a safe space for constructive discussions.